What's up, everybody? Welcome to Waypoint's Media Club, the place where you go for reviews, reactions, discussions on TV shows, movies, and video games, and hopefully never books. Today, we are discussing the Loki Season 1 finale for all time, always. Joining me, above me, is Brother Grimbo.
Hey, happy to be here.
We've got Brett Jamerson, a.k.a. Jim Tasty.
I'll see you soon, aka right now.
Next to me, we got my other half of the Orphan Gamers, LeighErin Jazz.
Hi.
And speaking as the voice of God himself is Alec Bobko.
Hello.
All right, guys. That ending, that was insane. What are everyone's initial thoughts on the overall episode? Then we could discuss the implications of the end afterwards.
I'll go first. I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
to be completely honest, initially I was not a fan. And that was like honestly while I was sitting through the credits, like I was immediately like, oh wow, if this is all we're getting, then this was kind of not an ending for me. Like this was them saying, hey, there's so much more story to tell, and you'll get it in the other movies. And I felt like as a series that didn't wrap up in the best way in my in not even in like there wasn't Mephisto kind of disappointment, just like this just as a show feels underwhelming, let alone for like or set aside my expectations and the things that I wanted to happen. But once we get the season 2, I kind of slowly came around and was like, okay, well, if there's a season 2, maybe there's a season 3, and if they really want to let things expand and let things breathe, because I did like in terms of the general series, I like that this was a slower pace for Marvel, from what I could tell at least. And I feel like the Planet of the Apes ending, it was exciting knowing that there's going to be more.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I get what you mean, where like even WandaVision, like the implications of that show are going to carry over into the movies, but as a mini series, there is a clear ending. There's a conclusion to it all. Whereas this one, it's like, okay, well, if there's a season 2, it makes sense that they would end the first season on a cliffhanger. Like that's not unheard of.
Oh yeah. And as disappointed as I was initially, there was that like once I saw season 2, I was like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it. Like I need it now. Like it's more that I'm upset that it's not here now, that it wasn't just back to back.
They're getting rope us in. Yeah. They have
Or
our
everyone
souls
else
for
think.
years.
I mean, they have our money at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. What about you, Brett? What were your thoughts?
I loved it. And we'll get into it later because I don't want to go too deep into it. But the performances from all the actors involved, especially a certain actor, was incredible. The fact that they pulled it off in terms of expanding the multiverse into what it is and what it's going to be, like I loved it, and the whole journey I loved. So I mean, the character performances were just incredible, and I really like where they're taking the story going into Loki season 2. We'll get into it, like Ant-Man, all the other future projects. So I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
LeighErin?
Hang on, sorry. I liked it, but was also mildly underwhelmed. Not in a way that I was disappointed with where the story went. I was fine with where the story went, and like it all made sense. Doing a Mortis first was a choice. I would also just like to say here, I will name the actor Brett. I don't give a fuck. Everybody's been sleeping on Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
Like, Lovecraft County just got canceled, and I'm so excited for it to become like this new, like, I can't believe it got canceled. Yeah, because none of you watched it, and you should have, because it's great. I don't mean, when I say you, I don't mean you guys, but like, you get my point.
The universal you.
Yeah, he's so good. The only thing, just from like a development standpoint that I didn't understand, you told, and never mind, I do kind of understand it, I just don't like it, and it's where I feel like that these early phase 4 projects got a little fucked by the pandemic, is that like Investors Day happened because we couldn't have D23 last year, and they knew that they needed to announce things at Investors Day, so they announced that Kang was going to be in Ant-Man, and they announced that Jonathan Majors was going to be playing him. So trying to do the He Who Remains, like, man with no name shit didn't really land for me because I was like, we know he's playing Kang. He's explaining this whole thing about different versions of him. It's a really easy jump to, oh, that was a Mortis. And like going from all that, like, just say who it is. Like, you don't have to be coy anymore.
Yeah.
But
He literally says conquers in the episode.
I know. I was like, just say the name, dude.
Well, he said,
like,
yeah, people know me by many names, which is what was cool to me is that, I mean, even on the Marvel official wiki, every variant of Kang is their own page, and they say in the wiki, it's to make it not confusing. So yeah, this technically wasn't Kang, but it was Immortus, who was a different version. And the He Who Remains one, I was like, ooh, is that what they're going for? Because He Who Remains is a completely different person than any version of Kang, Immortus, Nathaniel Richards, etc. But it sounds like more like she just kind of made, she being Miss Minutes, kind of just made that a nickname for Kang / Immortus. So I guess the actual He Who Remains just isn't in the MCU.
Miss Minutes can go fuck herself.
She scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I don't
When
like
it was
her.
done,
I'm scared of her. Like, she makes me uncomfortable.
I watched Loki. Like, my partner, well, she's not a huge fan of VMC. Like, she's gonna watch Loki now that it's done. She just didn't like waiting week to week. But I would watch Loki like morning of. Like, if I wake up at 7 a.m. because the cats are hungry, then I am watching Loki at 7 a.m. And I would try to like, adjust the volume because sometimes it's a lot of whispering and then sometimes it's a literal storm. Like it's all over the place. So I completely forgot where I was going. I love Eliath. Can I just pivot to Eliath? Like,
Oh, my sweet baby.
is he dead?
I don't think
Eliath.
so. I hope
know.
that we get more of Eliath because Eliath is a cool story. Like,
Can you
just
kill a
like
cloud?
It was only
yeah.
it was only
He's not
enchanting.
there.
They only enchanted it.
Yeah,
right?
I
So-
don't think they killed it. I think he's still alive.
He's got a big hole in him.
Yeah.
Well, no,
I hope that doesn't kill him.
They enchanted him so they could reveal the doorway to behind the scenes, like reveal the curtain.
Mm.
Yeah, you have to think about if he, even though he's a living being, if he's just clouds, they didn't cut a hole in him. He just kind of lifted his arm up and revealed what was under it.
Mm.
As far as a comparison goes.
In my head, because he was more like he looked like a crocodile bear to me.
Oh, I thought he looked like a dog.
I feel like it's one of those. He's a cloud, so you can make your own interpretation.
I thought it was just like a dragonish face and then just smoke.
So
Oh,
I heard someone say dragon, and then made the comparison that like it's Loki's hero story. Loki fighting a dragon with a flaming sword. Like, I get that. I like that imagery, and I want more of it in the MCU. I like that like fantastical. Even though it's science, it's advanced science or whatever. I like the mystical and the magical stuff in the MCU.
Yeah, LeighErin.
Okay, so Bo, I know you haven't been on this podcast before today, and Alec, you haven't been on every episode, but Brett has, and Brett knows that throughout this entire podcast, Jordan and I have been arguing over whether or not the TVA means that there is no free will in the MCU because the sacred timeline, because like in that first episode, they're like, if you step on the wrong leaf, you're a variant. And Jordan was like, that doesn't mean that there's not free will. We got in a legitimate fight about it. I feel so validated that in this episode, they literally were like, no, there's no free will in the MCU. The point of the sacred timeline is that we know everything that is going to happen, how it is going to happen. Nothing can deviate from this. You have no free will. And I would like just to say, Jordan, you were wrong. I fucking told you.
Wow, call him out.
I'm going to feel so vindicated when No Way Home comes out.
No. You really are.
I really will, though.
Okay.
That's a good point, though.
Okay, because I want to bring this up, because LeighErin, you brought it up. I don't think that was a Mortis, because I think when they bring in the other, and this is a whole topic that I don't know if we want to get into now, but I think it was He Who Remains. I think it was a distinct MCU melding of the character from the comics with a Kang variant. Because Mortis is an iconic, distinct version of Kang, and I don't think they would use him in this way.
So I was talking to Jordan about this on Wednesday when I thought I wasn't going to be on the podcast. This is my confusion with who it is with being a Mortis. how Immortus becomes Immortus, kind of, where he becomes this weird guy that's like, I have to control everything, like, see the error of my way shit because of some deaths. Okay, he becomes Immortus partly because Renslayer, who's his wife, dies, and his son dies, Marcus. Is Marcus Iron Patriot, or am I getting confused?
Iron Lad.
Iron Lad, not Iron Patriot. Is he Iron Lad, or am I getting confused?
So, according to the wiki that I was just reading through, because I'm not too well versed in like Nathaniel Richards and all his variants, they made it sound like Iron Lad was a different version of him, but technically, maybe his son took up the mantle at one point, or because of
This
time
is the
travel, he's
thing.
his own son, which is a thing that could technically happen.
This is the thing where I got confused, is I didn't know, because at first I jumped to, oh, it's Immortus, because in my brain it went, oh, his son is Iron Lad, they're very clearly setting up the Young Avengers, this is Kang from the 31st century, we might see that, like, the Young Avengers develops, becomes a whole thing, you know. And then I realized that I might be making that up, that his son is Iron Lad, and
Yeah,
I might
no.
be getting completely confused.
Iron Lad is a different version of him.
Okay,
And
fantastic.
at one point, when he was still, I guess, a younger version, like Iron Lad is, he became something known as Kid Immortus. So there's Immortus, and then there's Kid Immortus.
Yeah. Well, because all Immortus is people close to Kang dies and it fucks Kang up, and he's like, I am a terrible person who have lived my life in a horrible way.
Yeah. Which he kind of talked about the regret of like when he was a scientist, as well as like the way he was dressed was so similar to Immortus that, yeah, it could
that
be
was
like
the only
Brett's
other thing.
saying, it could be like a weird amalgamation of the actual He Who Remains and just a very generic variant of Kang that is maybe closer to Immortus, but not quite Immortus.
Mhm.
Well, because so Kang is going to appear in Quantum Mania in Ant-Man 3. But
Yeah.
that's not until 2023. So we have like 10 Marvel projects in between those two that Kang is, or you know, a version of Kang is going to show up in one or couple or all of them. So that's why I think they would save a pretty significant variant of Kang Immortus for maybe maybe Doctor Strange 2 or something like that.
Eternals.
Eternals, yeah, like yeah, because now that this happened, like that's why I was like what is this? What's the implication? Like kind of like with Ant-Man 2 when they got snapped at the end. It's like, are we gonna be watching Shang-Chi and then see like Tobey Maguire swing through or something? Like
No, not till No Way Home.
yeah, okay.
You're
See,
not gonna see it.
but that's gonna. I think that's gonna happen now. Now that the
I
multiverse is ripped
They're all
open.
variants.
Yeah, but we knew it was gonna get ripped open, and okay, here's what it is. I don't give a shit if the other two are in Spider-Man No Way Home. I truly could not care less. I don't want to deal with Jordan if they're not, because he has hung his hat so hard on this that I feel like he's gonna be disappointed and he's gonna bitch and moan to me for like a week and a half if they're not in it and yell about how like they could have done it, and I just don't want to hear it.
I'm not
gonna be like devastated.
We've had reports of a couple of characters being in like certain.
Listen, we can do a whole video,
but I don't think the guys are. Anyways, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter.
Jordan,
shut the fuck. It doesn't matter. Jordan, it doesn't matter.
I
look forward to the day after No Way Home comes out. If Jordan's wrong, then his whole like, conspiracy theory video, like 5-hour long video.
I will do it myself.
Yeah, I also have other reasons that I don't want them to be in No Way Home, but that's for a different time.
But if I am right, the drag of the cigarette that I'm going to take, and I don't even smoke.
You're gonna suck up the whole cigarette in one go, man.
Victoria, our other friend Victoria, who's gonna go see it with him, was like, I'm literally buying him a clown wig during Halloween, and I'm gonna make him put it on if they're not in it.
What if they do like the other guys, like what they did in that with The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson, where they put them in all of the promotional material? So like trailer drops, it's Toby, it's fucking Andrew Garfield. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
I I really don't want them to put in the marketing, but if they're in the marketing
No.
and I get to prove that I'm right
No.
months before.
So in the other guys, what they did was they put Sam Jackson and The Rock in all the promos, and then they die in the first 10 minutes.
Great scene.
What if they just do that? What if they just like...
Jordan's going to be mad
they-
because his entire point is that he wants to see them fight together.
No, I said I would prefer it that way,
Together,
but I
they do the
said
whole
I'm
thing, but,
also
like, they still die in the
said
first 10
I
minutes.
also can acknowledge that it might just be like a 5-minute scene where they meet and then they fucking go off. That's
I'm
fine.
just saying that Into the Spider-Verse was a great film, and I think it's fucked up if Marvel then makes a Spider-Verse movie with 3 white guys throwing things at each other. Like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like, we've walked into this era of Marvel with really good representation that, like, I don't give a shit about 3 white guys that play Spider-Man. Like, I don't care. Like, this show I was gonna talk about this is so exciting because like we confirmed that Loki's bi, we confirmed that Loki's gender fluid. Like there's so much to it. Are you actually drinking a martini? I thought that was a prop. That is so fucking cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a prop because it's on camera, but yeah, it's functional.
So, I've never seen somebody like actually drink a martini. And like that, just like I think it's fun because
you
it's
bartend and you've never seen someone drink a martini.
Nobody actually orders martinis at the bar.
Well,
like if you're going out to get fucked up.
Unless like I'm at a nice bar, like I would if I was like out to get fucked up, I wouldn't be like, "Hi, can I get a martini, like some Doritos and 3 olives?" Because like no one wants to be that person, and then you turn around and you spill the entire thing on you, and you wasted like what $20 or whatever.
Yeah.
Wait, no, you've seen me order an Appletini. Which I can't believe I just put that out there publicly.
Fun of you. I made fun of you for 20 minutes. Anyways, I'm really excited with the representation we got in the show. It was fucking dope. We had some boss ass people of color, and I never remember her name. Who plays? Thank you.
You've seen Larry Crown, like, just she's great in that. So she's also I like her.
You're talking about B-15?
No, Red Slayer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's great. I love her. I also love the woman who plays B-15. I think that whole scene between the two of them last episode was great. Like
more Lovecraft Country lore, or not lore, but crossover.
Yeah, it's great. She was also in the Cloverfield Paradox, which was terrible. So I'm glad that she's been in good projects since.
Is that the one they shadow dropped on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And B-15 was in Batman v Superman. I'm pretty sure that was her.
Yeah,
so, like,
I think it was too.
He answers to no one. Not even, I don't think, to God, or whatever the fuck she says.
Yeah. I think I think that's her.
I'm like 99% sure, but also I don't want to be wrong, so I don't want to look it up. It's like a Schrodinger's search.
Yeah.
Schrodinger's actress.
Go
ahead.
Sylvie, I feel like Sylvie got fucked in this episode and didn't get a good ending.
I mean, that's the thing about the MCU. It's not an ending for her. She's still going to play a role.
Well, is that confirmed?
I don't know if it's confirmed, but she's still around.
I can't imagine her pulling off that.
I was gonna say, is she the, or was it one who remains now since she killed him?
Ooh.
I don't know.
No,
I think Jordan and I are about to say the same thing, that her whole thing was destroying the TVA and that she didn't want to take the throne. She just wanted to kill the person who made her suffer. I don't know. I was kind of bummed about how Sylvie's story ended because she was just such a dope person for the entire series, and then I felt like we didn't get and again, it's one of those things that I have to keep reminding myself we're getting a second season of this, and so I understand why not all the stories were wrapped up, but also I'm a little frustrated.
I mean, to be fair, she stated that was her goal 20 times.
No, I know. I just thought that there was gonna be a different sort of resolution. I don't know what I thought it would be, but I don't know.
That fight scene between the two of them.
That's what Loki was trying to do. He was trying to come up with a different resolution. That whole scene where he offered them 2 choices, and it's well, there can be more than those 2 choices, but that Sylvie didn't give Loki the time to think about it. That was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
The music cue where the music dropped and he went, "This is the moment this is the moment where I don't know what's
Yes.
going to happen anymore, and now I'm living in the present as well as you guys.
Which was cool.
Yeah,
I mean, so that's something I kind of wanted to like, in regards to the action and like those, like in my opinion, like the most that moment is like the moment of the episode in my head, or like maybe the door's opening and you see Jonathan Majors for the first time. But I think the dialogue and the character moments have been so much better than the action in the show, and I feel like a lot of the time I've seen like Marvel, or I've considered Marvel as the epitome of a popcorn movie, where it's like I'm constantly engaged either with spectacle or with characters or with plot twists that, you know, create new implications for movies moving forward, and like knowing that there are things to look forward to. I feel like this has been the most like talky thing in the MCU so far, and I personally want them in season 2 to keep going further with that. And like it's me being biased because I wasn't a huge fan of the action like in the series. Like the Lamentus was my least favorite episode, and I feel crazy for saying that because I feel like everyone else has been pretty positive on that. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what do you think?
I love the
think they should go with more
monologue.
writing? Right. He's just chewing all the scenery, and it looks like I wanted to be on set, like, and I would have to cover my mouth so I wouldn't like freak out at everything he said and how he performed. But like, it just looked like there was a very defined atmosphere in the room as he was acting, and that's something that I don't like pick up on a lot of the time.
Yeah. Especially because he was, for lack of a better word, just goofy. Like when Kang comes in, I expect to be scared and intimidated, and like there was a weird level of intimidation with this version of Nathaniel Richards. But he was being silly, and I almost couldn't tell if just like, oh, he's at the end of his time, he's losing it, or if it was almost like Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back, where he's like acting like this to kind of get a reaction out of the other people and to test them.
Yeah, I like. How long was that scene? Like 10 minutes, and I did not feel like it dragged at all, and I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Majors like was just kind of like what you said. It was almost like with the defined set, like it felt like a play, like it felt like theater where they were in a defined space, all working around it, and it wasn't. I loved like, and the WandaVision's ending wasn't as great in my opinion as like the chunk of the show in the middle, and Falcon and Winter Soldier's last episode when they're punching everybody was not the best episode clearly. So I loved how this episode's climax didn't devolve into like a battle, and it was just discussion and talking, because that, like you said, that was the strength of the show all throughout, and that they stayed true to that was amazing.
That last interaction between, because I honestly was not on board with the Sylvie and Loki relationship, not because of like the self-cessed whatever. I was just like,
it's just fucking gross.
I mean, I don't. It's
so accurate to Loki, though, and I feel like we can't call it gross because it's impossible. So
it's
just fuck
gross.
it, let it happen.
It's gross. I don't like it.
Okay.
It's not possible that a girl can get fucked by a tentacle either, but I think that porn is gross too. It's fucking gross.
Well, you know what? I'd fuck me.
That makes me uncomfortable. I'm so sorry.
Of course
though.
you would.
I just feel like,
Have you
for
seen
one
me?
thing, I didn't buy the chemistry for most of it. But then it would be saved by them having like really powerful moments acting against one another.
Mhm.
And then like in that final or the dialogue, like just the back and forth between the two of them, like I felt something. And then when they like kind of broke out into fighting, I like kind of tuned out a little bit because I was like, oh, like I thought there would be more Shakespeare apart, like more, suspense and more dialogue.
I kind of get what you're saying, because in the Lamentus episode, where the episode after Lamentus, where the kind of they've had the build up, they've gone to talking, they've gotten to know each other, and then there's like an inkling of, are they into each other, and that branch that causes that branch that almost turns into a Nexus event. I believed it in that moment, and I felt like every other time it was Loki trying to force it with Sylvie, and it wasn't happening. And part of it, I guess, was like they kind of set themselves in a rule that like if this is legitimate, it's going to branch off, and at no other point did it branch off.
I mean, I thought that it was. I never got the sense that it was romance, because both of them had kind of indicate. like, and I thought it, like, I don't know, like, I thought it would have been more powerful if it was like they literally have been, like, Sylvie has been alone for who knows how long. Like, I don't even, like, it's probably impossible to calculate how long she's been alone. And Loki has been, like, surrounded by people, but alone internally, that kind of thing. I thought that, you know, them forging some kind of friendship or any form of allyship or any kind of relationship, and I'm not for the reasons that, like, I'm not saying, like, I'm completely for this because of this reason. I'm just like, I don't care about the self-cess. Like, I agree, it makes sense with the character that, like, if out of anyone in the MCU that we've seen so far, anyone is going to hook up with themselves in another universe, it's going to be Loki. Like, it makes sense. And even if it, like, this is going to upset a lot of people, but if it was just a gag, and then people, like, the next time you see it, like, it's Thor being like, what the fuck? What? No, like, what? No.
Like how Mobius
I want to
reacted to
see
it.
I want to see that reunion now, because that's possible.
Yeah,
That's so possible. Oh, I'm excited. I didn't think about that.
because Loki was reported now that he's going to be in Doctor Strange 2, right? So am I blowing your mind?
I did
I
not
don't
know
I didn't know
that.
that.
I don't remember it ever being reported that like Tom Hiddleston would be in it. I just remember that it was Loki was playing into the events of Multiverse of Madness. But now that we know that Loki is still alive,
Pretty sure I'm pretty sure I read the, like, article, or it was like the headline of the article with Tom Hiddleston's face, and, like, it said, yeah. So I think he's going to be in that movie. Sorry if I spoiled that for you guys.
No, that's
I
fine.
I would just like to say that I feel vindicated that Bo didn't think they had chemistry either, because I thought I was insane. Because I was seeing all this stuff on Twitter of people being like, they have such good chemistry, like, da da da. I was like, I don't think they do. I felt like it was like two people that have a shared experience, like a shared relationship. Could you not? Like a shared experience and a shared understanding of, like, the deepest parts of themselves, but that doesn't mean it's romantic love. And I didn't feel like they had a lot of romantic chemistry.
Like, Lamentus felt like the end of Rogue One, but not not Lamentus itself, but the episode after Lamentus, where they are just waiting for it to crash. Like, that felt like the episode of, or the last 5-10 minutes of Rogue One before the fun bit. Like, just I can't remember the characters' names. That's why I'm trying to avoid saying these two
Jin
characters.
and Cassian.
Yes,
Is that who you
thank
mean?
you.
Yeah.
Like them watching, and then I was like waiting in, like, just, oh god, don't kiss and make this, like, not earned. Like, just let this be earned. Let me feel something. And then they didn't, and they got murked, and that was sad. But, like, I got the same vibes where I was just like, you're opening up because it's like you're the only other person, and also that you need another person, like both of them for a long time. You needed that connection with anyone, and
And,
why not with
like,
yourself, but not yourself. And now that I said that, it's weird.
I also don't understand why he needs a love interest. Like, you know, like, I felt this way about Black Widow too. You don't have to have a love interest. They can just vibe, like, and just do their own thing and, like, not be concerned about romance. And I feel like that's an okay choice that Marvel needs to make more. Just personally.
See, I bought it only in the sense of that now that we know the whole, like, resolution, at least up till this point in the first season, of how Loki was learning to love others by loving himself, so to speak, while Sylvie was still, like, determined on her mission throughout, which we see that resolution at the end there. So for me, I bought it like that, and it's almost like he didn't want to be in a relationship with her necessarily, just that he cared about somebody else at all on a level that deeply. And I felt it more from Tom than Sophia DiMartino. I thought he did a better job in initiating that relationship, or what have you.
I feel like Sophia DiMartino can depict rage really well, though.
Mm-hmm.
That moment when she screams in episode 4, and, like, it's cool that, like, she had the energy blast go out, whatever. but it was more just like the shaking, like her acting. I was like, oh, okay, all right. Like, I don't want to fight you at any point. Like, please don't hurt me in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of acting, Loki on the train when he got drunk. I just wanted to shout that out because I haven't been on
Yeah,
this
that was
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
That-
die for Mobius.
I was gonna say that last interaction with Mobius was really sad.
It was
Yeah.
pure. It was so pure, though, too. Like, just from Mobius being like, okay, like, we'll listen to you. Just, like, take a breath. You're an analyst. Like, what you like, trying to calm him down. I was like, this is so pure. Like, look how excited you are in your job, my sweet bean.
We
Like,
all thought that the series would end with him on a jet ski, but instead it's just him going, I don't remember you.
So
But our Mobius is still out there somewhere else. That's the thing. Like,
our Mobius they will find each other.
yeah.
Like,
yeah,
star-crossed
Mobius is
lovers.
in Doctor Strange too.
I
Oh my
would
God.
lose my shit. Like,
Yeah,
I would be so
I-
excited.
I want more
Wow, I didn't
Mobius.
think of that.
I see what you did there.
Thank you.
Dude,
was
that
the
whole
one did.
that whole ending was a clusterfuck. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
What
Like,
the
So-
fuck?
So one thing real quick, I know this is kind of a stretch, but I think it was a TikTok I saw where there's talking about the ending where he got like, she kicked him out into like the door back to the TVA, and they're showing because you could see the window out in like the sacred timeline, and like as she like kicked him out, you could see the branches started forming. So she probably thought she was sending him back to the TVA they knew, but because the branches started forming,
mhm.
But the TVA exists outside of all time.
I think there's multiple TVAs.
I don't, especially now that we have a multiverse, it existed outside time when we had one sacred timeline with no branches. We are in a completely different, like, everything is different now. Marvel basically with this show is like, hey, everything, we had Black Widow, we had fucking Captain America, Winter Soldier, or Falcon and Winter Soldier, whatever it's now is. That was like our old kind of shit. Everything is different now. From here on out, everything is different.
like that Marvel Studios intro was so
Yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah. Amazing.
I was very upset about the people who thought Nelson Mandela speaking was Chadwick Boseman, and I got like in a Twitter fight about it.
Yeah, they had Maya Angelou in there. They had
Mm-hmm.
what's that? They had the Captain America song, which instantly like
They did. They had that in at the end.
got me emotional. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was wonderful.
Yeah, they had, it was like Maya Angelou, Nelson Mandela, Greta Thunberg, Einstein, a recording of him, I think, or somebody reading an Einstein quote, either way. And there was another one, but I don't remember what it was. Of the like non-Marvel.
Real
The real life things.
Yeah. However, Marvel putting in what is grief if not love persevering is not what I needed at 6 a.m. on a fucking Wednesday.
Especially
I
because we
need
got
to be reminded of that.
when the director tweeted like that she only finished editing this episode a few weeks ago. You know, she was just like, "Oh, people like that line. I'm gonna slit that the fuck in."
Oh, it made me
Mhm.
sad. I liked it in that it hurt me and made me reevaluate my opinion on death. Or views on death, not opinion. View on death. Like I don't need it at 6 a.m. when I'm not
Yeah.
expecting it.
But let's talk about the ending for a bit, because like this is going to have a lot of impact on the MCU going forward. I mean, and I'm being legitimate here, ignoring the joke. Like we know that this is going to affect No Way Home at the bare minimum in terms of the villains, and we know that's affecting Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. And obviously Kang's appearing in Ant-Man 3, but what else could this, like, we don't know what else this could possibly affect.
X-Men, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I think it will affect when they're bringing in Fantastic Four. I don't think it's going to affect Shang-Chi, or Hawkeye or Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
like,
those I see it not affecting.
I don't think that's going to affect it, and I don't know if it's going to affect the Eternals because I don't know enough about the Eternals to
That's
even
what I was going to
guess.
say.
Yeah.
So one of the I feel like a variant, I can't remember his name, I think it's like Ramatut, but one of Nathaniel Richards' variants goes back to ancient Egypt and becomes a pharaoh and kind of rules with future technology. So maybe the Eternals come across like their ancient opening where it shows how powerful they are and like what their power levels are and what all their powers and how they interact and stuff like that. maybe that's against a variant of like we just see Jonathan Majors as a pharaoh. And
they can put Jonathan Majors in every Marvel project from now until Ant-Man as just a different variant. And I'll be like, okay.
all the weird stuff,
make it
you're
like
gonna
the
get
new
Jonathan
Stan Lee
Majors.
cameo.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say make all of the weird stuff. You get a Jonathan Majors cameo. All the like grounded stuff, you get a Veep.
Julia
Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
I always get a brain fart because I keep trying to remember Valentina La Negra.
Yeah.
Valentina
Fontaine.
Allegra de Fontaine. Yeah.
Yeah, like I always butcher that name, and I'm like I watched a lot of Veep. I've seen all of Veep, and I love it very much. She's a great actor, and I just can't remember her name.
Yeah.
So Eternals popped into my head because the only description that Marvel has given us is that they have not interfered with anything that's happened in like thousands of years, but now something so big happened, they are deciding to interfere again. And I feel like before this, everyone's assuming that the snap was the thing that was so big that they're like, we need to now interfere, because even in the comics, the Eternals and Thanos have a passing relationship.
Mhm.
But now I'm starting to think that like it might be the timeline collapsing.
So, okay, they released, I don't know if you saw this, but they released a new premise, which is the reason I don't think Eternals is gonna matter, which the new one is, after an unexpected tragedy following the events of Avengers Endgame, the Eternals, an immortal alien race created by the Celestials, who have secretly lived on Earth for over 7,000 years, reunite to protect humanity from their evil counterparts, the Deviants. So I don't think that we're gonna see Kang in this. I think it's just gonna be the Deviants, because putting Kang and the Deviants together is gonna confuse people. The Deviants are confusing. What?
But what if the Deviants are like the evil versions of them? Wouldn't that be like a parallel universe version of them?
No, the Deviants exist in the same universe as them. They just are.
Gotcha.
Or a
It's a
variant.
Marvel's what?
Or a variant.
Yeah. Marvel's very much like Star Wars, though, where it's into the yin and the yang. So, like, if something like the Eternals exists, they make something like the Deviants. Like, so there's always that, like, power balance.
Yeah. Like how in the Fairly Odd Parents, you have Wanda and you have Anti-Wanda, Cosmo and Anti-Cosmo.
No, that would be
Remember
a
that?
variant. That's not a power balance. That would be an alternate
The fairies and
version
the
of.
pixies.
Yeah. That
No,
I'll
not
give
the
you
pixies.
as an eternal balance. No, I'm saying, Jordan, that you're wrong and Bo is right.
Oh, okay.
That I think Anti-Wanda is more of like an alternative universe one, where like the pixies and the fairies are like the opposite of each other and do opposite things to keep like everything even.
I love this analogy.
I've been listening to a lot of spiritual like audiobooks lately, and I'm like third eye open, awful right now.
Now, do you guys think that Kang is truly the next big bad, like in terms of the next Thanos, or do you think he might be for one phase, but there's someone else that's going to be bigger or pulling the strings?
I don't think he's the next like Thanos level threat. Because I don't, only for a couple of reasons. One of them being, I don't think we're gonna get the multi-universe war and secret wars and armor wars. That's just a lot of like
Wars.
battle, like big grand scale kind of battles. I think we are going to, I've been saying this since the end of WandaVision. It has nothing to do with me like wanting it to be in there. I just legitimately think that there are parts in the comics where Kang like deals with Mephisto. I think our next big bad is either going to be Galactus or Mephisto, because they're introducing Fantastic Four, so they could introduce the Silver Surfer and introduce Galactus. Or I think that it's going to be Mephisto, because most of the Marvel villains have worked with Mephisto, because Mephisto's the literal devil.
Yeah.
Real quick, I saw a cool casting idea for Galactus. Christopher
What?
Judge, the guy who plays Kratos.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be
And he's now playing Black Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But they said, imagine I Hunger, but in that like insanely deep voice.
oh my god.
I hunger boy.
Yeah.
I feel like Kang could, because I don't know. I honestly don't know that much about Kang. Like I read whatever the Fantastic Four, whatever the Avengers comic was, where they had the prehistoric Avengers,
Mhm.
and they had like Agamotto and the first Black Panther on the team, and they were all that had to do with Kang at some point, I think.
Mhm.
So from what I understand, if we're saying that Jonathan Majors is going to appear as any form of Kang in the future, then that implies the Fantastic. Or they announced Fantastic Four eventually, but like to me, that implies the connection to the Fantastic Four. So if we have Fantastic Four, then we would have Doctor Doom, and if we have the multiverse and the implication that we're going to fight eventually, then like it could be a Doctor Doom type situation, because Doctor Doom led Battle World, right?
Mhm.
In Secret Wars. So
Yeah.
it could be like a handoff of we're gonna have Doctor, or like it could be like a Loki Thanos type relationship. I also feel like they might want to get away from having a big bad and just have like a rotating cast of crazy
Psychos.
if you like, yeah, and if you have a really great villain, but at the end of the story the villain dies, or the villain gets rehabilitated, or the I don't know, something happens.
The League
You
of
could have
Villains.
the same actor pop up as a variant. You could have a different actor pop up as a like the same version or a different version of that character.
Mhm.
I just want them to get wacky with it.
Yeah,
Like
no.
Just
I
get
want more
fucking
Kang
weird, Marvel.
eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm with you on that to an extent, because like Falcon and the Winter Soldier teased that something else might be coming up. Black Widow teases something else, and I can't see Hawkeye going into multiversal stuff, but more aligned with like the Black Widow and Captain America stuff. So I feel like they might have multiple things going on at once. And
The Dark Avengers.
yeah, they're doing Dark Avengers or Thunderbolts clearly, and then Mephisto is like a great one that I don't think should be a one movie villain, but I'm struggling to think of like if there was a time where he was a big enough bad that everyone went after him at once, the way like Thanos was. Because like Galactus is one of those things where like everyone has to be there for him, whereas Mephisto's just kind of dipped his finger in everyone's life at some point.
Yeah. I don't know. I know we want to wrap up like soon, but really quick, because Jordan brought this up and hasn't mentioned it on the podcast, and I think it's actually like a really good theory. So at the end of WandaVision, when she's like floating, reading the book in that cabin, and we hear the sons talk, Jordan pointed out, what if that moment is when the timeline split and she could hear them again, because all of a sudden she could hear alternative versions
You
of
know
them.
what's really cool about that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like the things got weaker, and so that's why she had the access to it.
Funny you say that. I actually literally just before we were recording, I saw a TikTok that like had them timed up just right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That's awesome.
my original thought before Loki was that Wanda hearing them in whatever universe the Young Avengers exist in was just going to try to force herself in there, and that was going to break the multiverse. But now I'm starting, that could have been the moment, because we see the branches go off at any point. But Marvel is not going to go back to, let's say, Age of Ultron and find a branch that broke out there and explore it. At this point, like, we're all moving forward. So we have to assume that at some point from what we have seen, at where the branches go from there is what we need to explore.
Yeah.
Where do you guys think Ravonna is going at the end when she goes in the time door?
To fuck Kang.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I think this is how they're gonna get her, like, and him together.
Because was it in the same episode or the episode before where she was trying to get information on how the timeline got formed and all that, and Miss Minutes was like, he thinks this is more important for you to learn about. So
that was this one.
He Who Remains had a plan to do something with Ravonna. I just don't know what that could be.
Fuck her.
Sex.
Wait, he's trying to hook up a variant for him.
Really quick, because this does not matter, and I don't need Marvel to give me clarification, but I think it's kind of fucked up. Is the reason that Judge Renslayer is a variant because if timeline is in this like loop, the way we established in Endgame and Doctor Strange, and now this, where it's this loop, is her becoming a variant because she walks into her office and B-15 is standing there trying to prove to another Minuteman that they're all variants and that's how she becomes a variant, because if it is, that is fucked up.
It's just like this weird like paradox.
Well, because there's this entire like theory that how we experience time as linear isn't real.
Yeah.
And that's not actually how time moves, but it's the way we perceive it.
Yeah.
And I feel like Marvel's getting really into that, especially now.
I don't think we'll ever know, because we know that they have the ability to reset a section as well. So it could have
but
not
resetting
been.
is just sending them to the void.
No, that's pruning.
No, they send like entire things. Like they did not stab the ship with a fucking stick. They drop the things down. That's all it is.
Those
When they
time
reset
charges.
it, they just send them to the void. Thank you. Thanks, Elba. Thanks, Alec.
Yeah, that would be a really weird, like, the grandfather paradox, but like
Mhm.
with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see anyone get stabbed and then fade away, and then like one version of a variant gets stabbed and then the other one fades away?
Like
'Cause-
Looper.
Yeah.
Or
Why not?
Back to the
Like,
Future.
let's just get
Back to
all
the
the
Future.
cliches and all the references out of the way. I'm down.
Yeah. Fucking-
What do you guys think's next for Sylvie? Like, what's next for her character? Because it's always that classic thing of like a revenge or vengeance or whatever. It's like she got it. Okay, now what's next? What's
I
next?
wonder if she's gonna regret what she did. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have a right to be angry or she shouldn't have sought after getting whatever she believes justice to be, but clearly something way bigger than her or anyone happened because of her quest to go after him.
I think moving forward, we're gonna get into a real interesting conversation about free will and would you choose free will if given the opportunity in Marvel, and that it's gonna become a big debate of chaos versus free will, and what would you as a human choose?
I feel like they might. Like, I want them to do that.
Mhm.
But what I feel like they might do is just have her go through the same arc that Loki did this season, where
Yeah, I
she kind
hope
of
they don't
goes.
do that.
Someone gives her a slideshow of all the shit that she did while she was jumping between timelines and like murking people. Like like maybe show her the result of what it looked like from the perspective of all those like all those timelines when she bombed everything.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, and then she'll say, "Oh, maybe I do need people," and then she'll come around and
Yeah.
maybe not do something romantic, but hey, let's be good buddies, and then we can be like rivals and snarky this entire rest of the MCU.
Mhm.
Like, I prefer that. Like, but also I don't want her to be only in Loki stuff. Like, if she could just pop up in random, like, because I feel like she's an interesting enough character and her power level is high enough that she could do some awesome shit, like just visually.
I want to
Like,
see her, Wanda, and Agnes fight.
ooh,
We did get confirmation that Agatha Harkness is coming back to the MCU.
we did.
Yeah, we did. Like, I just want to see the three of them like have a fucking like cage match showdown.
Mhm.
Just throwing energy balls, green,
With Doctor Strange being like
red,
the
and-
referee.
Yeah,
1, 2.
I'm just saying. Like, I just want to see it. I feel like it'd be cool, and I feel like I don't know. I'm concerned now. I'm both amped and concerned for Doctor Strange now.
I've been amped for that movie for a while.
Oh, so have I. Doctor Strange is like number 3 for me for the MCU in its entirety. They made me care about a character I have never given a fucking shit about. I love that movie. I am amped for the sequel, but I'm also like a little concerned that they're putting a lot in, that people are going to be expecting a lot of answers in it.
The thing that concerns me the most about that movie is that they're still going with the post-credit scene in the first one where Mordo wants revenge on people who he doesn't believe deserve magic, and how that's going to play into all of this. It just seems so like two very different stories. I don't know how they're going to be one.
Maybe he shows up in Shang-Chi and gets murked in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
That's what I want them to do in every Marvel movie from now on. Just
Yeah,
really
try-
hype up one character and then just murk him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Try
so
and
in
go after the
Shang-Chi,
10
that's going to be a
rings.
combination.
I'm so excited for Shang-Chi.
Seemed
Yeah.
good.
I'm just excited to see something about a superhero I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
There's a fucking dragon, there's a giant lion, there's fucking Aquafina, who's great. Like, I'm excited for all of it. There's nothing in that movie that I'm not excited for.
The Mandarin.
The
The real one.
Mandarin.
The
The
real
real one.
Mandarin, yeah.
The split
That's-
jump kick.
Yeah. I also have recently fallen because of Twitter, fallen in love with the man who plays him.
Oh, his Twitter is awesome.
Great.
You?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like a real person. Like he's actually like in terms of like a lot of these actors, like have personas.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
but
Oh
he-
yeah. Absolutely.
But he's actually like tweeting like screenshots of like just stuff I would probably tweet about too if I
Yeah.
was a famous actor.
Him and Raul Khalil are like the only reason
Coley.
I enjoy Twitter. Coley, sorry, are the only reason I enjoy Twitter.
Yeah. Oh,
Wow,
they're great.
thanks. Like I'm not a double
Jordan,
every
I
day.
dunk your tweets all the time. I in the group chat commonly send screenshots pointing out typos. Like, it's my favorite pastime.
I'm glad. All right. Any final thoughts that don't
Well,
include just tearing me down?
well, I had a question about Loki, and we kind of talked about this throughout the episode, but do we buy like his character development throughout the season? Like, do we think he's a changed Loki
I
in season
don't.
2 after he got betrayed by Sylvie? Do we think he's gonna
Yeah.
be like not I'm sure he'll dabble back and forth, but like, do we think he's gonna be a mostly good Loki in season 2 and in beyond?
Yes
I
and no.
Don't think he's going to be Ragnarok Loki and like Loki right before Loki dies. But I think he's going to be a better Loki than Avengers Loki, and that's mainly just because he doesn't have to do that panic run that he does in that scene with Mobius at the very end. And he's alone. Like, he doesn't know he's being watched when he is like running through the stacks looking for Mobius. So I think that what the one who remains said like really freaked him out.
Yeah, I think because his experiences getting there were different. It's like he, in terms of like his alignment, for lack of a better word, he's in the same place where he's kind of maybe a bit more gray and skews towards the good, but I think his reasoning and the areas in which he is going to be more good and more bad could change because the experiences leading him to this change of heart are so different.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like especially because the first episode establishes like, hey, everything that you were, fighting for, the Infinity Stones, nothing. Like that means nothing. You are so underpowered in the grand scheme of things that you shouldn't even think about wanting those things for your own sanity.
And you have always been destined to die by Thanos. Like,
yeah. So that as soon as I saw that, I was like, this is a new character. Like,
yeah.
Look, it's the same actor, it's the same name, but like for how I feel about this character and like should I trust the character development and stuff like that, like
his views on things
like a clean slate.
Grander than they've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Any final closing thoughts, guys?
No,
The
can't wait
show
for
is
season
number
2.
8. The show's
Number
number 8
8
on
on-
MC rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I still gotta
shit.
rank Falcon, Winter Soldier, and WandaVision. Gotta rewatch both of those, but it's number 8 right now.
I think
Really
it's
like the
12
show.
for me.
I legitimately cannot do a ranking. I think about it and
Yeah.
I panic. It's like
Well,
ranking
you
my
have to do
children.
it because we need one for Marvel School for Dummies in like 2 weeks.
Oh God. Okay.
So that's why you do it one at a time. Kind of funny style. Just
Yeah.
one over the other.
Alrighty.
All right.
Well,
Oh.
thanks for tuning in, everyone. Everyone's socials will be in the description down below. We will return for What If on August 11th. Until then, see ya. Bye.